How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to another live stream. A deadline with Dayvy, not exactly a deadline with Dayvy because there is a deadline today, but there's no game, so not really much importance. But I thought this would be a good opportunity to instead of do a video, do a live stream with you guys and discuss kind of the future of FPL and this channel, as well as we're probably going to have to make some transfers, but we'll discuss that a little bit later. First off the bat, this stream is sponsored by OneFootball. Now, I know this footballing app might not be of much use in the next couple of weeks because of the postponed fixtures, but I can assure you that as soon as the Premier League, if it does come back, you're going to be wanting to have an app that can show you all the matches. So just keep this in mind. Android and FPL, it's a free app, so go hit that download. But as I said, we're going to have to make some transfers, and that is because we do have 2 free transfers. If you didn't see what the official Fantasy Premier League site commented yesterday, they said that basically Gameweek 30 and Gameweek 31 are going to have no fixtures, but they treat it as an exact game week. So if you took hits, those are going to impact. If you made transfers, those are also going to impact. And if you played chips, those unfortunately are also going to impact. So we have 2 free transfers here. Have to use one of them. I know it might be a little bit of why do we even have to use a transfer? But if the Premier League does resume, I still want to have and make use of my free transfer. So we'll be discussing some tactics and kind of things that we're going to be considering, as well as hopefully making a transfer live on stream that you guys do like. So I know that this is not really an exact deadline, so don't stress. You don't have to worry about your footballing team for the next couple of weeks now. That's quite a nice thing, I guess, to take a break. But for a player like me who really wanted to have the Premier League happening right now, as varsity is not really getting too hectic, probably going to have a lot of majority over exams. But without further ado, let's get into some chat. So I'm glad to see you guys joining. Obviously, there's not really much to join unless you're looking at the transfers. We have Tay Lunatic, who was first this week, so congratulations. Also saying Mark Ainsworth, saying how's it, as well as Donald. So how are you guys doing? Hopefully you all are having a nice Saturday. For me personally, it's a little bit boring, no football, but I would perfectly take that if it means the health of other people. And then in terms of what your guys' plans are, if you have 1 free transfer, I think you should just bank it. That's kind of what you should do. So if you have 1 free transfer, bank it. But if you have 2, I would recommend spending them. So if we just bring up Alexander-Arnold, for example, doesn't have a fixture in Game Week 30, doesn't have a fixture in Game Week 31. But this has been the rumor date that the Premier League is going to be resuming around the 4th of April. Whether that happens or not is yet to be seen. But that's basically the only known we know now. It is a little bit of an unknown, but it's the only thing that we can kind of prepare for. So I'll be preparing for Game Week 32, and my transfers will be based on that as well. It's a little bit unfortunate as my specific squad was planning for the whole blank Game Week 31. So all that planning has gone out the window. Not too mad about it as we had quite a good game week in double Game Week 29. So it's a little bit annoying that we had this plans and our transfers were made for that, but can't be too mad because of the good scores. So now I don't really think I have to do any planning for blank Game Week 31. Pretty sure that game week will be a double in the future. And we still have the wild card in the free hit, so we're still looking in quite a good position. A Notorious Nerd saying, how's the COVID situation there in South Africa? So as far as I know, there's only 24 cases, but South Africa is not the most reliable for statistics. And I do think that if it spreads quite quickly here, it's going to be quite bad. I think that it's kind of the same in any third world country. So I'm hoping that it's not too bad, and I'm hoping that the world's kind of reaction to it is quite good, and there hasn't been too many deaths and that kind of stuff. So the transfers that I'm looking at making, so the one thing that I'm considering is taking Danny Ings out. If you heard my team selection or my team preview, I was going to kind of give Danny Ings 1 more game week, and then I was going to ship him out. But now he doesn't have that game week to prove himself. He had Norwich away in Game Week 30, so he looks like a transfer out. And then my kind of plan for the upcoming game weeks, I might switch Traore for one of the Wolves defenders. So my plan currently is take Traore out, take Rico out as well, and then take Soyonku as well. So that will give me 4 free transfers from now till Game Week 32. Shuki saying that actually Game Week 30 will not happen. It's quite obvious. So I do agree, but unfortunately, I don't know what game week to plan for then. I can't. So I'm only planning for Game Week 32 because that's kind of what they've given us. Otherwise, we could go absolutely insane with our planning and say, okay, my prediction is the escalation will be about game week 35 where it will resume. So I'm just planning for game week 32. That's kind of all we have to do. I know that the season might be suspended at all. They're having a meeting on Thursday. So the Premier League and all the board members and everything will meet on Thursday for the final outcome of it. I guess the most probable outcome is that it does get cancelled, which will be quite unfortunate. But obviously, if it is for the health of other people, you have to do that. But I can only plan for what's in front of me. So game week 32 is what I'm currently planning for. So what I was thinking is Danny Ings to Calvert-Lewin. I think that's a pretty good transfer to do. Traore to Hayden just for the cheap enabler. I think that he did get his place back. So he has been playing the last 2 games. So it does look like he's back. But then the one player that I really want to own and didn't own because of the blank game week 31 was Marcus Alonso. So he comes in as well. And that gives me just enough money for Saiss. So I know we're playing with no money here. But what I'm kind of hoping is because there's no fixtures, not many people are going to be making transfers. And that can kind of not have price changes. So I know that I have 0 in the bank here, but hopefully these are good switches. So obviously I have to make one of these moves this game week. What I'll probably be doing is making 1 transfer this game week, 1 transfer next game week, and then have 2 transfers if game week 32 does happen. I know that it might not happen and the season's probably going to go, but as I said, just planning for what's going to be coming. The other thing I would like, so thanks Shuki. I wasn't like arguing with your point. I do agree with you. It's just a little bit of a tough situation to be in as an FPL manager, and I'm sure you'll agree. And the other thing I want you guys to put down in the comments is if you have any ideas for the channel while we have this break. So the break's about 3 weeks, probably going to be more. So obviously that means no FPL content. I don't want to create content for things that aren't going to happen and make like a players you should watch, but we don't even know if the season's going to happen. So if you have any ideas, just drop them in the comments below. If you want me to play like a video game or something, what I was thinking is maybe do a second channel, because I know a lot of people on the primary channel want normal FPL content. So if you want, you must just say what you recommend and if you would mind it on the main channel, or if you think I should make like a Dayvy Plays channel or something. Because I do still enjoy content. Good morning, Charles. Thanks for joining in. So Aman, Notorious Nerd, and Alvin Blocks all saying FIFA. So Ben also coming there, Football Manager. So could do that. FIFA and Football Manager is probably one of the more consistent things with FPL. So I could consider that. But in terms of transfers, this is what I think we'll do. I think this game week will probably be the Danny Ings one to Calvert-Lewin, as I think that that's probably the safest one to do. I don't know if I want to do Traore to Hayden just yet, because I still think he is a good option. I just think in the upcoming game weeks, maybe it's better to have a Wolves defender over Traore, as he is a little bit of a rotation risk. Your face reveal on Twitter during this break, so maybe if we hit 10 million subscribers during this break, I'll do it. But in terms of other transfers you could make, you could also go for Doherty. I just think that maybe Saiss could be a better option along with Alonso than the other 2. So I know that this might be completely unrelated, as the season might be cancelled. But right now, I thought that I would at least give you guys some advice on what to do if you do have transfers, and how to approach it till the end of the season. So obviously, if the Premier League does come back from the suspension, we'll go back to normal FPL content. But over these upcoming weeks, there will be nothing to do. And I know people probably will be looking for content to watch if they are quite bored. So this is what I would kind of do. Vincent, how's it going, Dave? Any electricity outages? So I'm doing the stream at 12 because we're having outages at 1. So probably not going to be the longest stream in the world. I just thought I would do a video with you guys. And if you do have any questions about how this FPL season is going to play out in the next couple of weeks, drop them below. I do think that I have kind of a good understanding of how the Premier League is approaching it. So if you do have any questions, you can also drop them in chat, and I will kind of answer them as honestly as I can, because obviously I'm not the most experted player on these FPL rules. But in terms of the rules, so maybe that's what you're asking in chat there with what do you think. In terms of what I think the rules were, I think it's a little bit unfortunate for those people, but I don't know too many that were using a chip. I think probably the hardest ones are the people that use the wild card or the free it. That is a little bit unfortunate. But in terms of transfers, I think if you were prepared to take those transfers for a hit, you got to kind of take it on the back. We knew all this news that was going to be happening. A lot of people were saying that you should keep your transfers as far as possible, including myself. In the preview, I think I did say it. So if you took that risk, that's kind of on you. But I don't think it's that bad. I think it's going to be quite muddled for the rest of the season. So I'll kind of be able to address how I think FPL addressed this season at the end. But I think it should be quite exciting if the Premier League does come back. So Notorious Nerd saying, I don't agree with how FPL has handled the situation, costing people of transfer/chips/cup decided on the virtual coin toss. So I do agree with that point, Notorious Nerd. The cup being based on a coin flip is absolutely atrocious. That's horrible. If you've come this far, they should just postpone the cup and resume it later on. So I do agree with you on that. But with the transfers and the chips, I guess I don't know how many people use their chips this game week. So not that many. So Alvin Block saying the Premier League will come back. That's yet to be seen. So that, as Vincent said, this Thursday they're going to be having a vote, and we'll see what happens there. I do think that the Euros will be postponed, so there will be quite a lot of time to catch up this season as we're going. As Devin Little said there, quadruple game weeks incoming. So imagine if that does happen and we still have the free hit, we still have the wild card, and we still have the bench boost. That could lead to alternate carnage, maybe like a 300-point game week. Imagine that. So Shuki saying, what would be cool is collaborations with other FPL YouTubers. That would be cool. To have a lot of knowledge to share and talk about. So that is true. That's something that we could consider. Another thing that we could consider is even doing collaborations on other videos with FPL YouTubers. I'm pretty sure we're all kind of in the same boat, not really knowing what to do. John Tyner saying, if you take hits, all you will score is -4, etc. So if you'll get a red arrow, that is true. So that's how FPL's approaching for Game Week 30 and 31. If you made no hits, you have 0 score. But if you did make a hit, then you're going to have a minus score. So what I want to know is, if you made no hits, will you have a game week rank of 1? Because everyone's going to have 0 points. You can't get more than that. So I'm hoping that maybe the game week shows 1, and then we could all kind of have the best game week for a game, the best game week rank for a game week in FPL. That'll be quite a nice cover photo for your Twitter page or whatever you want to. Triple captain Mane in that quadruple game week. So unfortunately, I've used my triple captain, so I won't be doing that. But that definitely is a consideration. If EPL comes back, it's going to be low-key really fun with heaps. So that's what I'm hoping for. But obviously, the health of the public comes first. But if it does resume, I think that's going to be one of the funnest times to play FPL. I really enjoy the end of the season. I think that's where I make up my most points. So I think that if that's even doubled or tripled, imagine how much fun that's going to be. But I do think it all depends on kind of how the virus is in the upcoming game weeks. Notorious Nerd saying, I don't mind the season extending into the summer, and we can start the new season in the winter without cup competitions, I feel, and finish in time. So Notorious Nerd, I think that the Euros will probably be extended, as you said, to 2021, but I don't know about the cup competitions. Yeah, so I think Champions League is probably going to be cancelled for the season if I had to take like a kind of estimate. I think the Prem is probably the only one that could be postponed, but in terms of other cup competitions like FA Cup maybe as well could be cancelled. Josh Tyner saying someone said Everton players in quarantine, so I think a lot of players are in quarantine right now. A lot of the Italian players from the Serie A seem to be getting quite sick. Himanshu saying, have you watched the movie Contagion? No, I have not watched that movie. So there has been apparently a couple of movies that have predicted the coronavirus, so those could be quite an interesting watch. Excuse me there, guys. I had something in my throat. Joshua saying, double Liverpool defense to Man United defense to free up spots for Mane and Salah. So I do think that if you do have the double Liverpool defense, I would be looking at dropping one of them. I don't know if it would be right now. Maybe if you have no other players to transfer out, you could look at that. But I do agree that Mane and Salah look like the better options going forward, especially with Liverpool out of the Champions League. I know I'm saying this, but the Premier League could be cancelled, but that's how I kind of look at it. If the season resumes, no Champions League for Liverpool, so Mane and Salah probably be starting most game weeks. So I have one transfer. Should I do Ings to Calvert-Lewin or leave it for now? So if you have one free transfer, I would leave it. I would just bank it. There's too much uncertainty at the moment. I just simply have to use a transfer because I do have two. So if you do have only one transfer, I would just bank it and look to the kind of the next game week. Notorious Nerd saying Liverpool not being champions this season. So I won't lie to you, as a Liverpool fan, if Liverpool don't get the Premier League, I will probably be highly disappointed. I will probably be absolutely devastated, to be honest. I know for rivals, it's probably going to be the funniest thing in the world, but for me, it's probably going to be one of the hardest things to take. After I haven't seen Liverpool win the champion or win the Premier League in my entire life, and then the one season we're about to, it gets cancelled. So probably the most Liverpool thing that you can have. James saying the UK government is banning all mass gatherings starting next week. So that is something that could be quite convincing for the Premier League to kind of suspend the season for a long time if they kind of give a 2-month from the UK government, a 2-month ban on all gatherings. Should I do my free transfer? So only if you have only if you have 2 free transfers. If you have 1 free transfer, just chill, take it easy, give yourself a break from FPL and just kind of look at your team when the Premier League gets unsuspended. They should scrap it and give a victory and recognition shield, the VAR shield, nabbed off Twitter. So Alvin, that could be something that they could do. Rico for who? So if I did transfer out Rico, it probably would be Charlie Taylor if you have the money. But for me, if I'm going to upgrade Rico, it probably will be Alonso or Saiz. Is there going to be a blank? So Tony, my kind of thinking now is there's not going to be a blank game week. I don't think we have to prepare for blank game week 31 anymore. I think that one's probably going to be scrapped and we might get a double in the upcoming game weeks. But my kind of considerations is I'm only planning for game week 32 and onwards. So I'm not looking at blank game week 31 at all, which is a little bit unlucky because we were planning for blank game week 31, but just something you're going to take on the chin. Apparently, latest is that if FPL decides to drop the season, Liverpool will win, and those at bottom will be rejected. So I saw that was in news. I think it was the Telegraph or someone, they posted that. But the thing is, right now, there's so many different sources coming up with different stories. And I think the only thing that'll be kind of concrete is after that Thursday meeting that the Premier League is going to have. That'll be the only kind of concrete news we have. Nick saying I was going to free it on game week 31. What do? You just keep your free it. You keep it for the quadruple game week that's going to happen at the end of the season. And then I'm sure you'll be happy there, Nick. Daniel, just let them play 2 games behind closed doors after all the players are checked. So I do agree with you on that one. It will be quite unlucky if they can't play those 2 games at the end of the season. Devin Little also saying saw something about a 22-team Premier League season next season. I think that's what apparently some of the other leagues in the world are looking at. But also I heard that was apparently fake news as well. So I don't really know what to believe anymore. I rushed my transfers like a noob, brought in Willian and Saiz. Would you say these are bad transfers now that the recent fixtures are cancelled? So I don't think they're bad transfers. I think that you just got to kind of see if the Premier League comes back. Those 2 players look to be in good form, so hopefully they'll come back into good form. But we can't really predict anything now. So I wouldn't say that the transfers are bad. I think the only thing you have to do is you have to make a transfer if you have 2. So that's what I kind of wanted to do this stream because I know a lot of people follow my transfers. So I wanted to show you that we're going to be making a transfer this game week and what transfer that's kind of going to be. Luke, has a triple game week ever happened before? So I'm probably not the best person to ask this from because I think I've only been playing FPL for 4 seasons now. So probably the best person is probably like someone like Ben Krellin. He'll probably be able to tell you. He knows like everything about the history of FPL. I would kind of lean towards that there could have been one. I don't think it's completely negated. But I think that what makes more sense to me is unless they played it on like a Tuesday and a Thursday, but if they played it on a Wednesday and then the next Wednesday, it probably would just be 2 separate double game weeks. What are your transfers? So right now, I think the transfers are going to be Ings out for Calvert-Lewin. That looks like a transfer that I'm probably going to be making now. Just because I don't want to use two transfers this game week. Kind of just want to use one. I could do Traore to Hayden, but I don't want to lose Traore right now in case something happens in the upcoming game weeks and we need to kind of look at him. So Calvert-Lewin's probably going to be the transfer I do because I was looking at taking Danny Ings out anyway. Do not make any transfers, you'll get a red arrow. I know that you might get a red arrow, but I don't know if it'll be that much because I think you only have 0 points. So unless you take a hit, you won't have 0 points. So if everyone has 0 points, I don't see how you can go up or down. Tees Meister saying, morning Dayvy, how's it Tees Meister? You doing well? How are you reacting to the news of the Premier League being cancelled? Before I started in 08-09, okay, so John might have been confirming that there was a triple game week there. Is Bonds someone FPL players should look on bringing in. So, Oliver, I don't know too much. Leicester's fixtures aren't the best in the world coming up. Everton away and Crystal Palace, those are two defensively better sides. I know Everton kind of got thrashed against Chelsea, but I still consider them a better defensive side than most. And then their fixtures kind of get better afterwards. Barnes is in a little bit of good form, but if you look before his 19-point haul, there wasn't much to go for. So it was a little bit lucky that he did manage to get 2 goals. So I don't know, but I don't think there's any player that you should be potentially looking at bringing in right now. I think the only thing I would be looking at is maybe some downgrades. I'm just taking it as it comes. I'm taking what players were in good form before the suspension, and I'm just kind of hoping that they do afterwards. Should I keep Vardy? I think you can. The only moves I would be probably looking at is if you have 2 free transfers, I would use the one, but I would kind of look at my bench. I would probably just replace a bench player. So for my sake, it'll probably be Rico to Taylor, but I don't have the funds for that. So if you have the funds for that, I would just do that. Look at what players aren't playing and then make that move. Because unfortunately now there's not many things that we can make with our transfers. T-Smarter saying, I'm gutted, mate, not going to know what to do with myself all these weekends. So that is true. And unfortunately, it's not just football that has been cancelled. It's basically every sport around the world. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Probably just going to have to study, which will be quite boring. Dendonka out for Saka. That could be a move to do, but I don't think I would do that. With Saka, they have a lot of players like Tierney that came back from injury. So this extended break is just a helping hand almost to get those players that are out injured to help them come back in. So like a player like Pereira, who's pulled, I think, his ACL, he's going to have a nice little break now to get back. Liverpool only need 1 match to win against Man City in Gameweek 32 to be champions. That is true. That is if Gameweek 32 does happen. Oliver saying, love your streams. You answered my question every stream. Very helpful. Appreciate it, Oliver. Apologies if I didn't get to anyone's question. Sometimes people are a little bit hacked. But unfortunately, fortunately now, there's not too many people, so I can get to basically every question. Daniel saying Netflix shares to be skyrocketing. That is true. I think a lot of people, if they are stuck indoors, are going to be looking at Netflix. It's a pity the Dayvy FPL stocks aren't increasing because, unfortunately, there's no FPL content to be produced. Yes, this weekend, if you don't make transfers, you'll get 0 points. I think if you make transfers, though, and they're not hits, I think you get 0 points as well. So maybe someone confirm that in chat, but as far as I'm concerned, you only get a negative score if you take a hit. So if you're using free transfers, I don't think it's going to affect your score at all. Mac saying, I guess it's wildcard time if the Premier League presumes. I think it could be, but I'll probably be holding my wildcard a little bit later on and seeing if the games do come back. On an average, a person touches his/her face 3,000 times a day. Wash your hands and more. That's all we can do personally for us in society. So that is true. I'm kind of a victim of touching my face. I think if you make note of it, you realize how much you do it. Unrelated, but only Serbia, Ukraine, Turkey, Hungary, and Russia are countries in Europe that have matches this week. So maybe I'll have to find a stream for those or something online. But in terms of what I have in South Africa here, we don't really stream those countries. T-Smarter saying, you have any plans for videos while FPL is out? So some people have mentioned FIFA or Football Manager. So maybe you have some suggestions, T-Smarter, over there. So Daniel's saying as well that, don't know where these statements are coming from. Red arrows are for people who have taken hits. So that's how I understand it. So if you took a hit, unfortunately, you're going to get a red arrow. But if you use free transfers, you're just going to get the normal 0 points. Everyone... practical social distancing and self-isolation if you feel unwell. That is true, Notorious Nerd, so that's quite a good announcement to make. So if you are feeling well, my recommendation would just be take your symptoms as they come. Maybe see a doctor if it gets a little bit urgent, but otherwise don't expose yourself to other people. Because everyone gets 0 points, taking a hit or even a free transfer would change your rank. So that could be true. So in terms of, I think what would happen there, Godwin knows, if you make a transfer, it's almost like if you have a head-to-head with someone. I think if you both have the same score, it looks at how many transfers you made that week. But in terms of the rankings, you're still going to have the same points as the person above you. So let's say 10 people or on 100 points, you're still going to be you'll probably be 10th because you made a transfer if the top 9 don't make a transfer, but you're still going to be on the same points. So if the Premier League resumes, you'll yet again be going on. And unfortunately for me, I have 2 free transfers, so I want to make them. Hopefully someone above me took a hit to prepare for Game Week 31. That could be true, Vincent. There were a couple of people that did. Shuki, thanks for joining the stream, and good luck at work. Hopefully it's a good day for you, and take care. Should I bring Fernandez for Mahrez? So Kevin, I would do that move. If you have 2 free transfers, you need to make a transfer this game week. Then I think that move does look quite good. In head-to-head leagues, both teams will get 1 point for a draw if they have no hits taken. So yeah, if you are taking your head-to-head leagues quite seriously, then I probably wouldn't be making too many transfers this game week. There's no way making a free transfer affecting your rank. What is the logic in that? So the only logic, as I said, is your rank could be affected, but I don't think it's going to be affected by that much. It'll only you'll go down if the player that is above you didn't make a hit or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be making too many effects. Manchester City have the most blank game weeks, says Luke. I do think that could happen, but if all the cup competitions are cancelled, then they could be having the most double game weeks if you look at that, because they'll only be having a blank game week if the cup competitions happen still. Any suggestions, upgrade or downgrade to replace Dendonka? I would probably just keep him, but if you have to make a transfer, you could look at someone. If you need the money, maybe Hayden, but otherwise I probably would just keep Dendonka. Otherwise you could look at someone like, I think it's Duda from Norwich. He's also quite cheap, so you could look at him. Henderson out or bring a new goalkeeper in, got 4.7. I would only do that move, as I said, so public service announcement. So this will probably be the last talking point of the live stream. If you have a free transfer, just keep it. But if you have 2 free transfers, I would use one of them. That 1 free transfer you use out of your 2, I would look at your bench and maybe take a player that is not playing and bring a player that is playing in. For relatively the same price. So for me, I'm going to be doing Calvert-Lewin in for Danny Ings, and then just kind of letting the other transfer go. So that's kind of the only advice I can give you, is if you do have 1 free transfer, just keep it. But if you do have 2, I would be looking at it. So let's make that transfer now on the stream. Before we end it, I'm going to be taking Danny Ings out. Danny Ings, you've been a good servant to the squad, but unfortunately, you have to be the sacrifice for this game week. So Calvert-Lewin, Danny Ings out, Calvert-Lewin in. I'm confirming that transfer. So that's the transfer we did this week. Now we only have 1 free transfer. So next game week, we'll have 2 again. And then I'll probably have to make another transfer so that we don't lose the transfer. This is basically a wrap up the stream, guys. Hopefully I answered all your questions. Basically, I want to do this stream. So I answered what's happening with the future of FPL, as well as what transfers I make. So hopefully your weekend is good. There's no sports, so maybe spend some time with your family and friends, and just take a break from FPL overall. But otherwise, I'll be checking you guys, hopefully with some videos coming up in the week. Don't really know what I'll be doing. But as soon as the FPL content comes back, hopefully the Premier League does as well. So hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Hopefully the green arrows are good. Probably everyone will be getting a green arrow this week. But I'll be taking care of myself, and hopefully you guys too. I'll be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.